thank you. I remember that last year. What a time. I remember that. What a time for community to come together. We continue our holiday series with the miracle of remembering. I have to tell you before we start out that it is so ironic that I am the one who is talking about the miracle of remembering, because I have the worst memory on the planet. They say that you always teach or talk about what you need to learn. I have spent so much of my life being completely oblivious. When I told my wife Deborah I was talking about the miracle of remembering, she almost had to be revived. But I'm learning. I'm learning to be aware, to focus on things, to know that things are happening right in front of me which will create valuable memories. So the ability to remember is a complete and total miracle. Our human brains are miracles. In addition to splitting the atom, almost landing on Mars, and inventing the iPhone 6S, we can organize and recall the most arcane bits of information. How many of you are like me where years later things pop into your head that you don't even use anymore? Stuff you haven't used for years. Who's that happened to? Hello, show of hands. And if you're like me, instead of congratulating yourself on the resiliency, the plasticity, the sheer wonderfulness of your human brain, you say, what is that doing in there? Why is it taking, I only have so much real estate. Why is it taking up room? I could be curing cancer. And instead what I'm doing is I'm remembering my best friend's telephone number from when I was 9. Or humming the theme song to the Flintstones. Why is that happening? But these mundane, everyday memories have their place in helping us navigate a very complex world. The reason I say that is just so we can take a second, because we never do this. Let's just take a second and think about what miraculous beings we are. The many things we can do at once because of the wonderful nature of our brains. Imagine if every morning we had to relearn the stuff we normally do. Imagine if we had to relearn tying our shoes, heating water for coffee, driving a car, breathing in and out. We would be paralyzed. I still remember how to ride a bicycle. I still remember learning, going along Wood Lane, my sister's here, she remembers, with my father behind me holding the bike. We had just taken off the training wheels, letting go of the bike, teaching me to look behind while still going forward. I remember how I felt. I was scared, I was thrilled, I was excited, I was confident. And you know what? I remember those memories and I can still do it. Muscle memory is like that. Years can go and I won't ride a bike, but I can get on it and I remember how to do it. I can even carry on a conversation and ride a bike. I can listen to my iPhone and ride a bike. I am a miraculous being, capable of doing many things, and so are you. The miracle of memory is more than that. The miracle of being able to remember is so much more than that. It's more than our capacity to remember events. It's more than our capacity to sequence past things that have happened to us. It's more than our capacity to ride a bike or throw a ball. The miracle of remembering is our ability to give meaning to our memories, to take what has happened to us in the past and draw wisdom from them, to build on them, to use them as stepping stones as we continue our spiritual journey. That, as I reflected on the talk today, that is the miracle of being able to remember. What we can do with our memories, how we can use them to continue on our journey, to grow, to realize, as Sarai read, that the divinity is inside us. It's not on a mountain, it's not at the bottom of the ocean, it is right here. Joseph Campbell taught that it is our capacity to remember that is what makes us human. The fact that we are hardwired to remember, give meaning to past events, it distinguishes us from other beings in the animal kingdom. I don't say other things like dogs, cats. I don't say they don't remember. The way I know this to be a fact is in my house when it's time to feed the dogs, all I have to do is go pick up a can of dog food, head over to the can opener, and I become the object of amazing dog love. And my wife says, well, that's not really remembering, that's conditioning. Okay, it might be. But they know what's coming next. So they have some capacity to remember. But my point is that humans, that we have the ability to take our memories, to shape them, and make them mean something, learn from them. This is Spirituality 101. We know that here at One World. Our past experiences turn into opportunities for growth. We do this on a personal level. We do it on a community level. And nothing is a better example of that than what Asha was just saying. But haven't we seen at One World how we take our shared experiences, we take what we do together and turn them into memories of community? Last week, we were here decorating the sanctuary. Lots of people were here. We decorated our tree, we hung the wreath. Now, our gathering meant more than just hanging up decorations. It was an opportunity to see each other, to spend time together, to laugh together, and to create more memories. Remember, who was here when we put the carpet down? Were you guys here when we put the carpet down? For those who don't know, before we moved into the sanctuary and bought new carpeting, we took markers, all of us together, and we wrote notes to ourselves. We signed our names. Nick's name is right there. We signed our names. Ellen's pointing out right there. We created memories. Those memories live. They live in more places than on this floor. They live in our collective hearts because as a community, we created those memories together. By the way, if you ever want to see that, we took a video, and the video is on our One World YouTube channel. So go back and visit it. These shared experiences help us define who we are, where we have been together, where our shared vision as to where we are going to go together is headed. Now, each of us may remember the details separately, what you were wearing, who you were talking to, what you were doing, but the essence is the same. The warmth of it, the community of it, the connection of it, the fact that we were starting a shared journey that mattered. That is the memories that we have the capacity, the human capacity, to treasure, to build on, and to grow from. Each time we come together for a Sunday service, a hug meeting, a Sunday school class, it doesn't matter what it is. We continue to live the values that define our community, and we know what those are. Joy, love, acceptance, integrity, compassion. We walk the walk. Every time we get together, we are creating new memories that bind us together a little bit closer. We welcome those new to us who share that vision, and together we create new memories that sustain us as we go forward. The other thing we do, and we just saw a wonderful example of it, is we support each other in this community. We pray for each other here and privately. We visit each other when we're sick. We pick each other up when we need rides. We call each other just to check in. We are a community that puts feet to our values, and that's one reason I love it here. Because we don't just talk, we walk. And we do it to help each other, and that is a gift. The ability to give help, the ability to receive help, is a blessing that we offer each other. As Albert Schweitzer said, at times our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. Can we think of a better image for community than that? That's what we do for each other here. And that's what keeps us coming back. So, we celebrate community, we celebrate family during this holiday season. Singing carols, putting up decorations, lighting candles on the menorah. Remind us that we have gotten here together, that what we are doing has a shared meaning. Families and communities are strengthened by bonds of celebration. That's why we keep doing it year after year. It's not because it's dry ritual. It's because every year it brings us new meaning. We do it together. We may do it with new people, and that just means we open our circle and we invite them in to share the joy and the connection that we share together. Our ability to connect this way, to celebrate our love and our ties, is a blessing and a cause for gratitude. Sometimes, though, the holidays can be difficult. You know, a lot of us have had transition in our lives. And in the holidays, as we know, it can be tough because people that we celebrated with in the past may have passed. Families that celebrated together may no longer celebrate celebrate together. Kids could be visiting different households. I spent so many years celebrating Christmas with my father, who died 4 years ago, so my Christmases are different now. And that's where the strength of community comes in. Remember last week when Sydney said sometimes we have to hold the high watch for each other? That's what we do. We take each other in, we create new memories together, we hold each other's hands through times of difficulty. Sickness, age, or loss, they can make the holidays hard, but we have the choice to approach them in community, to make new memories together, to hold out our hands to somebody new when the person who used to hold them is no longer there. I happen to be very lucky because I live with Nick. Those of you in the community who know my son Nick was down here before, he has Down syndrome. And so he experiences life very differently than many of us. He has some intellectual limitations. In other ways, his world is so much broader than mine. He just channels Christmas joy. It is impossible for me to feel Grinch-like, which may be a bit of my tendency, when Nick is around. Yesterday, I was working on my talk. I had work to do for work. We were putting up decorations. I was not in a sunny mood. And then we had to go across the street. I was going to take Nick across the street to decorate my mother's house. And so I'm like, oh my goodness, all right, I'll take 5 minutes and take Nick across the street to decorate my mother's house. And on the way, it was a transformative 2 minutes. Because we're walking along and everything he saw, look at the lights, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. We all talk Nick speak. That's a miracle. And look at the lights, look at the flowers, Santa's coming, family. Every toast he gives is about family. He is a gift from God. To us, to all of us, because you see him every week. That teaches us that community, that now, that what is in your heart now, what you are giving now, is what matters. I am so blessed to have that gift right in front of my face, right in front of my snarky, grouchy face. So, in addition to cementing family ties, community ties, let's get back to remembering. Our ability to remember works for us on a personal level. Our memories, the way we shape them, the way we work with them, the way we remember them, the way we live them, are building blocks to our own personal growth. We don't just remember what has happened to us. We don't just listen to sequence of events. We talk about them. We relive them. We dissect them. We imbue them with a meaning that makes them live for us. And we have a choice on how to do that. Don't we know that to be a fact? It's entirely up to us. Let me give you an example. This is another example that is close to home. Many years ago, my wife, Deborah, and I were coming home from, we lived in Norfolk, we were coming home from a movie when suddenly, I was driving, she was in the passenger seat, when all of a sudden the passenger seat glass, the window on the side, just exploded. There was a loud noise, there was glass all over the place, it was terrifying. I was driving along, and I didn't know what had happened. It sounded like a shot. I kept driving. Meanwhile, Deborah, who was sitting in that seat, fell over, saying, I've been shot, I've been shot. It was terrifying. Put yourself in that situation. I was driving with one hand. I felt her head with the other hand. I realized that she had not been shot. What had happened is somebody with a wacky sense of humor had decided it would be really great to throw a part of a metal camshaft for a four-wheel drive vehicle through our window. And I certainly hope that enriched his or her life. But in any event, that's what happened. Went to the hospital, it was traumatic, it was terrifying, but at the end of the day, thank God, she was fine. So what did she do with that experience? What did she do with that memory? She kept that camshaft on her desk for 15 years until she retired from the Navy. As a matter of fact, I tried to find it to bring it here today, just so I could show it to you, but we couldn't find it. She says, we're going to find it when we move. Yeah, probably. But in any event, she kept it on her desk for 15 years. Now, did she do it to remind herself that life is violent, uncertain, and short? No. She did it to remind herself that she had to take a minute every day to be grateful, to thank God for the health she has, for the family she has, for the fact that she had many more years. That is how she took that memory and transformed it. Every day, gratitude and thanks to God. She transformed it so she could remember the promise, not the fear. Do you see how that works? The Bible is full of characters who knew they had a choice of how to remember challenges in their lives. Think of Joseph. Remember Joseph in the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat? He's thrown into a pit by his brothers. He's taken to Egypt. He's sold into slavery. He lives in exile for years and years. Finally, he has a chance to get some revenge on his brothers because they, of course, this being the world of the law of attraction, are starving to death in Israel. And so they go to Egypt and they go to Joseph, who now is pretty much running the place, and they ask him for help. He had a chance to exact his revenge on them at this point, but did he? No, he did not. He turned it. He said, what you intended for evil, God has meant for good. And he took care of them, and he took care of their family. Transforming that memory, transforming that experience. That is the miracle of what he did. Think of David and Goliath, another one of my favorite stories in 1 Samuel. It's a great story. If you read 1 Samuel, Goliath every day for 40 days is coming out from the Philistine camp, stomping, he's like 12 feet tall, stomping, yelling at any Israelite who is brave enough to come and fight him. Come fight me, I will, knock your head off. And all the Israelites are cowering. They're terrified, including King Saul. David, who is there not to fight, he's not a soldier, he's there because he's bringing like sandwiches to his brothers. He says, I know the promise of God. I know whose side God is on. And he got up, took care of Goliath, because he focused on the promise. He focused on the faith. He didn't let the past experiences of what this guy had done to a bunch of Israelites turn him away. So, as we look at these stories, what is the takeaway here? We know that we have the power to co-create our experiences. Again, Spirituality 101. By the power of our minds, by the energy of our thoughts, and our focus of our intentions as we put them out into the universe. The same is true of the way we frame our memories. They can move us forward, or they can hold us back. If we face challenges in the past, and I'll take a show of hands of anybody who hasn't. You're not going to be over the 3. We can dwell on them, and we can reinforce our stories. We were victims of this, we were survivors of that. Or we can take them and we can transform them into opportunities for growth. We can step past the fact that we were victims. We can become people of power. We can become people of growth. And our memories give us the ability to do that. If we just focus on our stories, if we define ourselves by our stories, we run the risk of thinking of ourselves as nothing more than the sum of our stories. I've heard that when you undergo prayer chaplain training, one of the things they teach you is don't focus on the stories. People are coming to you, they're telling you anecdotally, this is what happened, this is what happened. No, no, no. What we are focusing on is that at your core, you are a beloved child of God. And that's what I'm here to remind you of. Not to talk you through your stories. Gary Simmons teaches in Eye of the Storm that we are more than our experiences. We here at One World, it's foundational to us. We know that we are so much more than our individual experiences. As spiritual beings having a wildly human experience, we have the chance, we have the obligation to grow through our experience, through our memories, especially the challenging ones. The easy ones, they're just fun. I haven't done a whole lot of growth through my easy experiences. I don't know about you guys. It's the tough ones that put you on your knees, that put your face in the ground, and when you finally stand up, you are a different person because you have grown. But it's our choice. Now, this is a process, and healing and forgiveness and working through those times takes time. As theologian and ethicist Louis Smedis said, forgiving does not erase the bitter past, A healed memory is not a deleted memory. Instead, forgiving what we cannot forget creates a new way to remember. We change the memory of our past into a hope for our future. That is our gift of being able to work with memory. Deborah did that by reframing a frightening and a violent experience. And there are many other examples. How many people here remember the Lost Boys of Sudan? Remember those? Remember back in the 80s, because of the civil war in Sudan? Thousands of young boys were displaced from their parents. They were kidnapped by soldiers to be child soldiers. 4,000 of them escaped. And on their own, through war zones, through hunger, through privation, through fear, they made their way to the United States. And here they have taken their experiences and they have blossomed. They are business people, they're psychologists, they're musicians, they are entrepreneurs. They have taken what would put many of us flat on our backs and turned them into experiences which made them better people, which made them full contributors, aware of their own place in this world, able to contribute to it so well. So, here we are in the holiday season. Isn't that what we're celebrating? Isn't what we're celebrating is the birth of that inside us? Our ability to transcend, our ability to know the divinity that is in our hearts, our awareness that the unlimited resources are there inside our hearts, inside our souls, inside our essence, for resiliency, for healing, for love, for transcendence. It is our birthright and it is our choice. I think that is what we celebrate this holiday season. Our awareness that we are the beloved and that nothing is too good for us. Our Christ consciousness, the birth of the Christ essence in each of us, which is being birthed every day. We are just lucky enough to have a holiday at Christmas to remember it. As the winter goes into hibernation, as things darken, as the days are short, we are blessed to have this holiday to remember that every day we are being reborn. In the fact that we are manifestations of God on earth. And there, as I said, is nothing that we cannot do. Isn't it what Jesus said? These things that I do, you can do, and more. That's our message. Our birthright of joy, abundance, and peace is absolutely unlimited. And that promise never leaves us. It's just our choice. We just have to reach out our hands and take it. So this holiday season, go make some wonderful memories. Cherish the ones you have. Use them, all of it. Use all of them to grow, to expand your awareness that you are God's beloved, that it is our charge to spread that light in the world. Your ability to remember, to grow, to spread God's love to those who may have lost their spark makes you the miracle. Let's take those thoughts into meditation.